Stock Market Strategies. Today we have with us Martin Kempman, Director and CEO of Manganese X Energy Corp. How are you doing today, Martin?
Thank you, Albert, to allow Manganese X Energy Corp to tell our compelling story to Between Plays. And I'm really looking forward to have some great discussions with you and explain our company and how far we've progressed down the line.
Well, you know, I was looking at past interviews and watching some of, the information that we can get online and on your incredible website, by the way.
Thank you. It was really focused for the novice investor to really explain what our whole company is all about.
Yeah, I noticed that because you explained, like, there's like little sections that explains, NI 43-101 for compliance. Explains a little bit of manganese and everything like that. So that's so it's a great thing to have that on your website, and you're so easy to be able to reach also on your website. This is a great thing.
Let me explain something, okay? We're one of the first companies that I put up my telephone number on information 5.5 years ago to have any investor, big, small, call me and ask any type of questions. It was really interesting because sometimes I really got some good questions and nice questions. Other times there were a lot of investors really wanting to know when our share price was going to increase. And we take all calls and we try to keep this company as transparent as possible. And also there's blogs on there, there's news releases, there's a lot of information for anybody who really wants to get involved in understanding manganese.
Okay, that's great. So this is just like an extra added right now to be able to do the interview with you. Can you go a little bit into the background of the company, like explain why manganese? Why is it so important to us?
Perfect. Okay, we started in 2016, 5.5 years ago. We purchased this property in Woodstock, New Brunswick. It has great location, great infrastructure. It's 12 kilometers from Maine, all right? And it has the gateways to the Great Lakes and the St. Lawrence Seaway in Maine. The infrastructure, we're like 5 kilometers off the Trans-Canada, and we're really strategically located between, Canada and the United States. So hopefully when we're able to produce our final product, we'll be able to ship it anywhere in North America. We have access to that. So it's a very strategic location. Secondly, when we took over this property in 2016, we had this vision about manganese because there's an abundance of manganese. However, we saw this vision happening where it would be towards the EV battery, an EV vehicle, because that's what we thought was the future. And lo and behold, it has turned out to be the future. And more detailed, it would be a high purity manganese material that is used in the cathode, which is an energy source for the EV battery. So we saw this coming and we wanted to take advantage of it, and we have.
Yeah, I could see that. That's very, very good, because when we look at how things are going with cobalt, it looks like the manganese is going to be taking much more importance in the future. Well, we could even say at the present and into the future that manganese is going to be playing. And why do you believe that they've switched it out for manganese?
Great question. Well, we say they're engineering cobalt out of it. Basically, there was a nickel, manganese, and cobalt battery. They're definitely engineering cobalt out for many reasons. First of all, it's produced in the Congo. 60% of all cobalt's produced in cobalt. The price between manganese is really, I call it a forgotten mineral, but it's very inexpensive compared to cobalt. Cobalt prices ranged 11 to 49 times difference in price over the last 5 years. So there's been a major price swing. There's political unrest. I don't have to say about using child labor there, etc. About human, it's human problems there, and the government isn't that stable. And besides that, cobalt is pretty toxic, much more toxic than manganese. So manganese has a lot more advantages than cobalt, and also it's a lot more stable. It's a better stabilizing material or mineral within the battery space, within the battery chemistries. And as you recall, in September 2020 on Battery Day, Tesla came out with a new battery at 33% manganese and 66% nickel. And Volkswagen now is engineering at 1/3 manganese, 66 nickel, and they're moving more towards 50% manganese. And
Wow.
more and more it's happening is that Stellantis also is doing that, and
Stellantis.
even LG is even interested in, from what we've read, that they're using 70% manganese. So definitely, I call manganese the mineral of the 20s now. It's going to be the mineral of the 20s, and it's going to really help our production, and there's going to be a bigger demand for manganese ever.
Wow, that's really because I was looking. Naturally, I'm doing some research and making sure that I get as much information as possible to lead up to the interview. And something that I've noticed is that manganese is on the critical mineral list that just came out February of 2022.
Yeah.
And is it because we're getting most of our manganese from overseas?
What a great question. First of all, there's great question, good research. 35 minerals are on the critical mineral list from the United States. Manganese is one of them. A very good question. 90%. See, we are producing, and I don't want to get too complicated. It's called high purity manganese sulfate. High purity manganese, I'll call it. And it has to be, it's called a precursor. That's a powder that goes into the cathode. It's mixed with other materials. And the purity level and has to be 99.95% purity, and you have to get out all the contaminants, because if you leave any part contaminant in that material, it's going to ruin the cathode. And 60% of the cost of a battery is a cathode. So you got to be really particular of having less than 100 ppms of any type of contaminated minerals in the powder. And we were able to achieve that, which is really something in my estimation, really something special, because it's very difficult to have an EV compliant low contaminant end product of a sulfite, which is high purity manganese. So that's what we accomplished right now. So, and in addition, 90% of all the high purity manganese sulfate is produced from China, 90%. So there's a definite void in being able to produce a product outside of China where we could sell it to, and that gives us a major advantage for supply and also for the North American supply chain. And have to say one more thing with a big smile on my face, and I forgot to mention that to you. Okay. Our mission statement now is to become the first North American, which is Canada, United States, a publicly traded company to commercialize high-grade manganese materials for EV and backup storage battery industries. So that's our mission, and we're really on way with that. We're really on progress with that. We're really striving forward towards that.
So you would end up being the first commercial manganese in North America.
In North America.
Wow. So the importance of your company just jumped a few notches here.
Well, well, here's what's gone on. We've had a lot of inquiries already, and everybody's waiting for our PA. We've got major inquiries from a lot of different companies, which we have NDAs, and they're saying, "Okay, I'm from Missouri. Show me if you can produce it commercially and economically viable." And so everybody's waiting for the PEA to see how we go. And from early indications and all our news releases, we've made some really great economic strides towards the PEA, and we've reduced our costs, especially in our metallurgical aspects, reducing reagents and things like that.
Okay, so that
I can't say we're optimistic. Let me say we're optimistic.
Optimistic, yeah, that's a great word actually. Because when I'm looking about what we're talking about now, leading into the PEA, basically, Cameco. So Wood is the one that's doing the PEA, correct? Wood.
Very good question. Wood is the consulting and engineering company doing the PEA.
Okay.
And I just want to mention about Wood. Wood is one of the foremost recognized consulting and engineering companies, top ranked in the world.
Yes.
So when we had to decide which kind of company we were going to choose, we chose the best. We took the most reputable company to validate our PEA. And again, we're also working with Cameco, who, in my opinion, is one of the finest research companies in manganese in North America and the world. That's my opinion.
And Cameco, basically what they're doing is they're working on facilitating the processes. Is that it? Like, I think they just finished the third. I saw your latest release on that.
Yeah.
It was the February 1st, 2022.
Exactly.
And basically, what are they doing? Like eliminating the agents in between in order to your operating costs to reduce?
Okay. I'm going to make it simple.
Okay, perfect.
There's something called a flow sheet, which are all the different stages of processes. And they've eliminated some major purification steps in our flow sheet, reduced specific reagents such as sulfuric acid, which is a key component of our product, processing it. So there's been some real economic savings on that. And it was written all in our news releases. So that's making it better. And we're doing some really interesting technologies with our product to be able to process it as quickly and more economically contaminant free.
And there's a thing about manganese I was reading about, and I heard from your previous interviews, something about the selenium factor.
Yes. Okay, that's a good point. We don't use in our processes. There's no selenium in the majority of all the high purity manganese sulfates. There is selenium. And the reason why they use selenium, I'll just make it quick, is the fact that when we have a carbonate, and our process is taking it, utilizing sulfuric acid, breaking it down, going through all these purification and other steps, separation and purification into the final product. We go directly from our carbonate into the end product.
Wow.
Which is powder. Yeah. The majority of manganese companies are oxide companies, and what they're doing is they go ahead and they have to roast the salt. They have to roast it and turn it into something called an electroplate. It's called electroplated manganese material, where it becomes a metal, and they're using selenium to reduce the cost of electricity.
Okay, and it's highly toxic, right? The selenium stuff?
Yes. So after that, after the metal, then they turn it into a material compound of sulfate. So that's the reason why they're using selenium.
Okay.
To reduce the cost and energies. And when they're using electroplated manganese material, it works at 60%, but by using selenium, it increases the efficiency of electricity.
Okay, so Manganese X has a high purity manganese, 99.95, NI 43-101 compliant, and no selenium in order to, so we're looking like everything is great on board here. So resource estimate. So the PA
woods are just completing it and verifying every little. They're unturning every stone to make sure everything is perfect.
Amazing.
They're so reputable that they want to make sure everything is perfect.
Well, that's and Cameco was a part of that process. We needed to have that.
Yes.
So they had to wait for that as well.
It talks about all the different mining and the metallurgical and the costings and the machinery, how much it's going to cost to produce and all.
And we're talking maybe about pilot plant possibility after PA.
Absolutely.
Wow. And the importance of a pilot plant in all of this, just really quickly.
Okay, well,
But because there's a feasibility study, I think that's going to be made after the PA, right? The final
yes,
feasibility.
it's called the pre-feasibility study.
Okay, so we're doing the pre-feasibility. Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is, what we want to do is we want to accelerate the process to be able to prove that we can produce this product, the end product. It's very important. And because there's not that many companies in the world that can do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to enter into a pre-feasibility study.
Okay.
And while we're doing that, we're going to immediately go into a pilot project to prove that we can produce a certain amount of feedstock or our raw materials from Battery Hill, which is in Woodstock, into an end product. And by working on a pilot project and producing quantities repeatedly, it's called mass balancing cycling, we can take that end product and then send it out as samples to major companies that are already interested in our end product to validate that it is good for the precursor in the cathode, EV compliant.
Wow. So in a timeline, when do we believe that production would happen?
We're talking, there's other areas that we're working on which we cannot disclose right now.
Yes.
But the whole mission statement is to be the first one on the block to produce this.
Yes.
So we're going to be going, but probably about 2 years, because it says in our PowerPoint about 2 years.
Okay. And your mine life?
Just say approximately 35 years, and that will come out in the PEA.
Okay. And basically, just to end off, I've noticed that on your website that you like to add shareholder value to your company. And you have this also another section of your company, which is the Disruptive Battery Corp for the HVAC. I thought that was very interesting as well. And I really like the fact that you're easily accessible, throughout your website and everything. You talk to your shareholders, and at the same time, you add shareholder value by going into this other section too.
Well, we're trying to do the best. We're trying to enhance shareholder value. We really appreciate all our shareholders. We have a lot of European shareholders that's been holding the stock for a long time. And my mission is to build this company and also enhance shareholder value, because we've got a lot of very dedicated shareholders, and I feel responsible to make them money. That's the name of the game.
Of course, absolutely. You know what, Martin? I just want to thank you so much for being on Between Plays Stock Market Strategies. You've for sure enlightened a lot of people that are out there about investing into your company. Is there anything that you might have wanted to add before we end the show?
We've got a great technology. We've got a world-class technology to be able to turn our feedstock from Battery Hill in New Brunswick, Canada, into the end high purity manganese sulfate. It's taken us 5 years to develop it, and we're very proud of our technology and where we've come from 2016. That's it. And we got a great team.
Yes, I've noticed some of your team members on there. It's true. Like you have Roger Don, director as well in there. Yes,
they've all contributed.
Yeah, I think he's brother of Dr. Jeffrey Don, who's with Tesla.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I definitely have a great team. Once again, Martin Kempman, CEO, Director of Manganese X Energy Corp. I'd like to thank you so much for being here today on Between Play Stock Market Strategies.
It took a little bit of time, but we're here. Thank you, Albert.
It's okay. It's the way it is. You're very busy. We're very busy. It's okay. That's just the way it is. I'm just very happy that you're here. And if we could do ever any follow-ups in the future on the progression of your company, I'd just love to have you here again.
Albert, I'll be more than happy for you to interview me for Between Plays after our PEA.
All right.
Hopefully, it's going to be very successful, and I'll be more than happy to explain the virtues of our PEA and where we're going from there, and go into more of the dynamics.
That's great. Thank you so much, Martin.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.
Thanks.
Between Plays would like to thank Martin Kempman, CEO of Manganese X Energy Corporation, for this interview. Thank you for listening to our interview. We hope you enjoyed it. Our content is intended to be used
and must be used for educational and entertainment purposes only. The information in this interview represents predictions and actual events. Future material results may differ from the content in this interview based on numerous factors. Forward-looking information may relate to the company's future outlook and anticipated events. While management considers these assumptions to be reasonable based on information available, they may prove to be incorrect. The reader is referred to the company's most recent filings on SEDAR, as well as other information filed with the OTC markets, for a more complete discussion of all applicable risk factors and their potential effects, copies of which may be accessed through the company's profile page at www.sidar.com and at otcmarkets.com. We are not responsible for unrealized or realized losses. Please seek independent financial advice from a professional when investing. Thank you on behalf of Between Plays Stock Market Strategies.